KCAA's Inland Talk Express. KCAA, Loma Linda, 1050 AM, the station that leaves no listener behind.
Everyone, welcome to another episode of the E Factor Show. I am your host today, Latoya Tillett, and I have my special co-host in the studio today, LaDeja Clark. So we're going to be talking to you guys a little bit about what's going on in the current real estate market, how it looks if you decide you want to leave California and move to another state, and some helpful tips on what you should do. So to kick it off, my name is Latoya Tillett. Like I said, I am a real estate broker and tax professional. I hold an enrolled agent certification from the IRS. And so what I focus on doing is helping my clients create diverse portfolios that include international, commercial, and residential real estate while maximizing their tax benefits. So that's a little bit about me. We're going to go ahead and kick it off and get started. I'm going to let my co-host introduce herself. LaDeja, you there?
Hi, everyone. My name is LaDeja Clark. I'm here as Latoya Tillett co-host. I am a Southern California realtor and also an ISA, an international sales agent. And we're going to get into the perks and the benefits of real estate today. And I'm so excited.
Awesome. I'm excited to have you with me today. And for all of you who don't know LaDeja, she's new to California again. And so she moved back here recently. And so we came to know each other through a mutual in-law. And so, so here we are. She's now joined the team and we're really ready to serve your needs and, talk a little bit about this real estate game. So what you got for us, Deja? I'll go ahead and let you go first.
Hey, everyone. So again, mainly we want to talk about the benefits of home ownership and the perks that a lot of people don't really know about when you're buying and selling. And if you're moving out, we wanted to introduce you to Prop 13. If you're not familiar with that, Prop 13 is a benefit for the homeowners. And basically, it's about the property tax. And it increases for you every 2%. And we want to talk about basically when you're fed up, you probably got a divorce, maybe you're ready to change, you have an empty nester, your kids went off to college, and instead of necessarily moving out of state, you can move inland, or even your lifestyle depends on you moving out of state. We have options where instead of selling, you can rent. And why? Is because a lot of times you don't really like the other places that you move to. We have a list of cities and states that we're going to go through later on today and show you the different prices and why and the different options. However, the main thing is we want to just show you your options and give you the power as the property owner you are.
Awesome. So to piggyback off of that, what we're getting at is some people are saying, hey, I'm tired of California's high prices and this, that, and the other, and they have issues. I'm going to go move to Atlanta, or I'm going to go to Texas or Vegas or wherever you decide that you want to move to, right? And so what happens when people do that, they're like, okay, I'm going to sell my house and I'm going to buy a house over here. But why not just rent that house instead? Do a cash out refi, rent out that California property, purchase that property in another state or another country, but we'll get into that later. But you could go ahead and purchase the house somewhere else, because guess what? What if you get over there and you're there like a year or 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 even, you decide, hey, I really am homesick. I want to go back to California. I really miss my family that's there. No one comes to visit me. Whatever the case may be, guess what? If you kept that property as a rental, you just let your tenants know, you give them the adequate notice based on the state requirements, right? And you move back into that house. And that way you have somewhere to go and you haven't outpriced yourself, because guess what? appreciation happens every year annually in real estate, on average, I don't know what, 4 or 5%, maybe even more than that, depending on how the market shifts, because we saw a really big shift during the pandemic, right? Like all of a sudden prices were sky high, everybody was trying to buy a home. I don't know where all the money came from, but it happened, right? And so you have to think about those things. So what if another situation like that happens, or you move to somewhere else because you think it's cheaper, and you stay there for a little while and you just don't like it. It's just slower than your taste or whatever the case may be. And then you want to come back to California. Guess what? Now you're in the mix of house hunting again. There's not enough inventory. You're going to have a hard time finding a house. You're going to have an extremely high interest rate, possibly. It just really depends. So to avoid all that, refi that house, take that money and go ahead and purchase somewhere else. And then go back to your house when you're ready. Or if you don't want to, hey, just keep it. Keep adding rentals to it. Grow your portfolio, whatever you want to do. But that's one of the great ways that you can create generational wealth, and by doing that, and also creating your retirement plan, because you got to think about those things too. We're not going to all want to work forever. I would say we're not going to all live forever, but there's people who are still working in their 80s and, maybe even their 90s. I know there's a realtor that was at a brokerage I was at, and she was in her 80s and she was still selling real estate. Like, how many people really want to sell real estate at that age still, or want to do any kind of work at that age, right? So start building your retirement plan now. I personally wanted to retire at 40, and I am 3 years behind. So I got to get caught up right now. What do you think about that, Deja?
Absolutely. And the number one thing also is the savings. Like when we get into the savings, and you're saving almost about $200,000 to $400,000, who doesn't want to save, especially in a time like this? So we have like a list of homes and cities that I want to touch on, and also show like if you do decide to stay in California and you just want to save money, which everyone wants to do. Some people want to leave because of their lifestyle. Some people are just done and want to go, and we'll touch on that as well and give you some options on that. But far as just saving money, if you don't really want to go too far, your kids are in college in California in state, then we just move inland. Just move inland. And like I said, on average, you're saving $200,000 to $400,000, because you can get some brand new homes for $600,000 to $700,000 brand new. I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah,
you're
for
right.
brand new. Okay, I just wanted to make sure the
Yeah.
numbers is right on that. Yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, so I'm always in for saving. My number one thing is saving. That is my lifestyle. I don't need to move or go anywhere. As long as I can save a buck and get the most bang for my buck, that's really what I'm geared towards, especially like I said, nowadays in today's market with inflation and everything like that. You don't have to leave and go to the East Coast. You don't have to go here or there, but we're still gonna run down some average costs and prices for you, so we could do a little compare and contrast for you.
Exactly. And then, that's kind of one of the reasons how I ended up in the Inland Empire. I grew up I'm from a town called Linwood. Not a lot of people know where Linwood is. It's a really small little city, but how I usually describe it when I tell people, oh yeah, I'm from Linwood. And they say, where is that? And I'm like, okay, it's next to Compton. Okay, everybody knows about Compton. They've heard about Compton. They know where it is. And so Linwood's like a little bitty town, kind of right next to it on the little outskirts. So that's where I grew up. And of course, as I got to become an adult, prices were getting more and more expensive. I had 2 children, and I'm like, wow, how are we gonna, buy a house out here that's gonna be affordable? Because at the time, my husband wanted me to be a stay-at-home mom. And of course, I was against it, but he wanted to just take care of the family, which I appreciated that. And so, what ended up happening is we had to go inland because we couldn't really stay around LA, which is where most of our family is, and where I would have preferred to be, of course, to be closer to family. But we had to go inland, so we ended up purchasing a condo in San Bernardino, and that afforded him the opportunity to be, the only one working and being able to take care of the household and everything without there being any added stress about, oh, I need to hurry up and get back to work after I have this baby so I can do this and do that, or so we can pay this and pay that. So it did end up working out. And after a little while, of course, when we first moved inland, we were like, oh my God, like it's boring out here. There's nothing. And we were running to LA every weekend. But trust me, folks, once you kind of migrate to the Inland Empire, it might be an hour and a half, 2 hours from LA, depending on how far out you go. But that drive gets tired real fast. So you just get friends where you live in, and get to do fun stuff around where you are. And so after about a year or two of doing that, I just grew to love the Inland Empire and just kind of stay around there. And, went from from San Bernardino actually to Moreno Valley, which I actually really like Moreno Valley a lot better than San Bernardino, but you have to know where to go to. And that's another important key factor when you're thinking about purchasing. Certain zip codes you might want to avoid, but if you find that good zip code, nice newer homes, good neighbors and everything, then I say go for it. And so I ended up actually really kind of almost falling in love with Moreno Valley because it was just really nice and clean, and everybody was cool. And even though I'm not out and about much, I enjoyed where I lived, right? And so you grow to love it after a while, right? But then, of course, if you want to move back, you have that backup plan. If you have your house, instead of selling that house, you have the rental, you have your backup plan to go back if you don't like the Inland Empire. But I think it's a good move, and that way it keeps you in California. You're still close enough to family because everybody goes up and down the 15 or the 215 corridor, right? Because people go to San Diego all the time to go to beaches, or they go to LA to go to beaches. And so, you'll be right there in the middle. So you could just tell your family, hey, stop by on your way to such and such place, right?
Exactly. And to kind of piggyback on that a little bit too, LaToya, that's where you have, I guess within the last 5 to 6 years, I could be wrong, but everyone's probably more familiar now with Airbnbs and leasing and renting. And that's why we're pushing so much if you do have these options, if you're an empty nester or you're ready to get something different and new, don't sell, just lease, rent, or Airbnb it out. So therefore, if you are in the inland and you want to spend the weekend or a week, or your kids want to be in LA, you don't have to worry about drinking and driving, being too far, being tired, under the influence. You could just stay at one of your own rental properties, because the way it works, you may or may not. Well, of course, the goal is full occupancy. We always want that money coming in, that income, of course. However, we have our in seasons and our off seasons, and if it's your own property, you don't have to pay for a hotel. You don't have to pay for an Airbnb. It's your own property that you still own. And that's the number one key that I want to focus on, because if you decide to leave, you can always come back. You always have that revolving door where you can come back home, and you can do pretty much whatever you want to. Once you sell, it just gets hasty. It gets messy. It's costly. And it's your own property. Why not, lease it out and have someone else, whether it's already paid for or you're still paying a mortgage on it. You can have your tenants or your leasees or, your guests, your Airbnb guests paying for that for you. So not only are they paying for the expense, but they're also giving you that extra money in your pocket, that extra income.
Yes, that is so true. So we're going to dive a little bit into some of those other areas that we were talking about for people who are curious or interested in knowing what it costs to move out of state. But we're going to do that right after we take this small commercial break. See you back in a few.
KCAA Radio has openings for 1-hour talk shows. If you want to host a radio show, now is the time. Make KCAA your flagship station. Our rates are affordable and our services are second to none. We broadcast to a population of 5 million people. Plus, we stream and podcast on all major online audio and video systems. If you've been thinking about broadcasting a weekly radio program on Real Radio plus the internet, contact our CEO at 281-599-9800. 281-599-9800. You can Skype your show from your home to our Redlands, California studio, where our live producers and engineers are ready to work with you personally. A radio program on KCAA is the perfect work from home avocation in these stressful times. Just type kcaaradio.com into your browser to learn more about hosting a show on the best station in the nation, or call our CEO for details, 281-599-9800.
And now, the voices of KCAA with an exciting announcement.
Want to hear NBC News or KCAA anywhere you go? Well, now there's an app for that.
KCAA is celebrating 25 years and our silver anniversary with a brand new app.
The new KCAA app is now available on your smart device, cell phone, in your car, or any place.
Just search KCAA on Google Play or in the Apple Store.
One touch and you can listen on your car radio, Bluetooth device, Android Auto, or Apple CarPlay.
Catch the KCAA buzz in your earbuds or on the streets, celebrating 25 years of talk, news, and excellence with our new KCAA app.
Just do it and download it.
KCAA, celebrating 25 years.
All right. Welcome back to another episode of The E Factor. I'm your host today, Latoya Tillett, with my special co-host, LaDeja Clark. So before we went to the break, we were talking about some different places you could go just within California, even if you want to save money, like moving up from LA or more expensive places like San Diego. We were talking about the Inland Empire. Inland Empire is definitely a good alternative to moving all the way out of state if that's something that you're really not ready for. I know I was just checking out this article yesterday, Deja, from CNN, and they said the top 4 most expensive places in California, it made the top 10. So they were looking at the most expensive places to live. I think it was the top 20, right? 4 California cities made the top 10. Okay, we had San Jose, LA, San Diego, and I believe the other one was San Francisco.
Wow.
So, some of those people, when I look at that, there was this home builder I was looking at, because of course we're always watching the market as realtors. That's what we're supposed to do, right? We're supposed to pay attention so we can educate our clients. And I remember one time looking at this new home construction builder, and they said, we're building affordable homes in San Francisco. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Let me check that out. Affordable, because when we think affordable, we think, not very expensive. And I was like, okay, I don't know who's affordable they were talking about, because those houses were starting at like 1.5, 1.7. And I was like, who's affordable is that? So yeah, the term affordable, folks, does not mean cheap. It's affordable for the median income in that area. So they just tell us a little bit about some of the places you checked out.
Okay, so in California, if we're going to start in state, some of the most affordable places that came across my radar, and, for the average of 4-bedroom, 2 baths, we have Temecula, we have North County, we have Riverside, Torrance is a good one, and also Anaheim. And that's, again, for the average of maybe anywhere between 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom, 2 bath, 3 baths. That's in state.
Okay, so that's within California, right? And so then we were looking also, like if you want to make a move, let's say you want to jet on over to Arizona, right? Or, let's say Scottsdale, for instance. Over in Scottsdale, I know some of the houses I've seen that I've looked at, maybe about $350, maybe $450, just kind of really depending on your style and your taste. And that's if you want to go new construction or resale. Sometimes resale is a little bit less expensive than new construction. And then sometimes you can get some really good deals from the builders and get some discounts, things like that. Of course, we all know Texas is one of the places a lot of Californians flock to,
Austin.
Right? Yes, Austin, Texas, Houston, Texas. Those are the big ones where I know I actually personally have had family members and in-laws move to those areas just to save more money than they were in California. At the time, I think my mother-in-law got her brand new home built for, I don't know, I feel like it was less than 300,000, but that was like 10 or 15 years ago or so. And so, but even now with the prices on the rise, they're still pretty much less expensive than California. I think mainly everywhere is less expensive than California. And then when you start talking about New York, we don't even want to get into that. But a lot of people are going towards like Nashville, Tennessee. I know they're starting to see a little bit of a boom. People are still coming over to Vegas. And Atlanta. Atlanta's prices, I've noticed they're pushing the $500,000 mark for like their average prices right now. And I was like, wow, but you get so much more house for $500,000 in Atlanta than you can in California. In California, you can get like a shed maybe, or like a little 2-bedroom, 1 bath or something like that.
Studio only.
Right? And remember when people used to consider like Inglewood, like most of the time, there was times when people were like, I'm not moving to Inglewood. That's
A
crazy.
lot has changed since then.
Right. But then now with the SoFi Stadium and all the gentrification they're doing over there, I remember I was floored when that whole gentrification thing started in LA, and I looked at like prices around 7th Ave and Adams. I was like, oh my gosh, I couldn't believe the little tiny 2-bedroom, 700 square foot house was going for 1.2 million. And I was like, that's insane. Because you could take that same 1.2 million from LA and you could take that to Atlanta and get a mansion. Okay. Like you could get so much more, even here in Vegas. Like I went to Vegas, and every time I go, or every time I've been, I'm driving around, and like it's like every time I come out this way, I see more and more new construction. And I'm like, wow, it's really that many people moving to Vegas, but they're bringing so much there. I think they're building a new NBA ready arena that's coming out. I know there's a hockey team, the Raiders are here. And so with that came an influx of people, right? And every time you have an influx of people, you get an influx in pricing, but it's still technically more affordable than California.
Absolutely.
Right. But you do have to watch out for those couple of things where they get you, though. So, you might move to one of those states because you don't have any state income tax. You're like, oh, yeah, I'm saving. But they get you in other places. You might have higher car insurance, or, your sales tax might be a little bit higher. I know Florida is a popular place for a lot of people to go when it comes to saving on the income tax part. But there's other things you have to pay for, and other property taxes and things like that. I know out of mostly all the states, from my experience and what I've seen with some of my clients, Texas has about the highest property tax rate that I've seen, as far as looking at other states, even though they don't have state sales tax. And Deja, you came from Washington. What was it like up there?
Yeah, Washington State, not DC. Very beautiful properties, very beautiful. The market is not too far from California. However, it's pretty up there, but depending on what part of Washington, I was in the Seattle, Olympia area, so the capital, one of the major cities in Washington. So, of course, the market was a little bit. My house that I was in was, we bought it at $350,000. It's a 3-bedroom, 2 full baths. Full backyard, fenced in, huge backyard, deck, front yard. It was a beautiful home. It was a flat, garage, everything beautiful. We sold it when we left. We was there for about my husband and I, we were there for about 2 years, and we ended up selling it at $480,000. Nice. So, wow. But when we moved in, we had equity within that same year of the house. So Washington is pretty much going to sell itself, honestly.
Okay, awesome. That's pretty cool to hear, because I haven't had the luxury of visiting Washington State.
Very
I do
beautiful.
Get from there. Yes. Yeah, I need to go check it out.
If you're a nature girl, if you're into nature and grass and green and water, and all the signs on there have Washington. What is his name? George Washington on all the signs there. It's cool. It's a nice history there, but definitely the market is a little bit cheaper. But again, you get the luxury. It's still what is that? The Northwest. So California, we're the West. Wild West. Washington is the Northwest. So it's still Westy. It's still it give you that feel. It's still it's very clean, the environment, very quiet, very neat, very whitewashed, as far as like just going by the books. Everyone knows everyone. Everyone is neighbors. They're pretty, everyone talks to each other. Because as a realtor, that matters to me as a client. Like, I want to know the type of neighborhoods. Like, every state has their ups and downs and their ghettos and then their nice neighborhoods. However, for majority of the state is very nice, very great market there.
Yes, yeah, I can imagine. I definitely want to go check it out. That's actually one of the states I haven't been to, on this side of the globe.
Right next
So I
to
definitely check
Oregon, not
it
too
out.
far.
Right over there next to
And I
Oregon.
was
I have
peeping
a
at
cousin that
their
lives in
market as
Oregon.
well in Oregon, and
Oh
it's
yeah.
pretty much similar. It's cheaper than Washington though, so that means it's two
Oh,
times
okay.
cheaper than California.
Oh, so now maybe that's why my cousin went back to Oregon.
Possibly, yes.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool. And so yeah, guys, so if you're looking at going to one of those other states, like let's say you want to go to Austin, you want to follow the market, of course. It depends on what your tastes are, of course, and what your objectives are. But let's say Austin, Texas, I know they're having a huge boom right now with tech industries and things coming more to the central area of Texas, like Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin. You have the big guys going over there. And so their prices, they're starting to see an increase in pricing as well. And so, you might be at a 500,000 for 50 or so for the average price if you want something nice or a brand new construction. And so that's pretty much standard across the globe. Like once you get outside of California, most of the new construction properties that I'm seeing are starting around 380 all the way up to 600,000 or 700,000. Just really depends on what you want, how large of a home you want, what kind of amenities you're looking for, the area. Do you want to be in the center of everything, of all the action, or do you want to be a little bit further out, a little bit on the outskirts? So, of course, anywhere you go, if you decide to go to the outskirts, just like how Inland Empire is a little bit of the outskirts of Los Angeles, then you're going to see the prices be a little bit lower than what you're going to get if you're in the center of town and right in the mix of everything. So, yeah, that's pretty much what we have for that. And of course, we love talking about real estate and talking about the market and what's happening, what's going on. I know folks are still kind of scrambling because the interest rates aren't 2% and 3% anymore like they had. But guess what? Historically, they were never that low in the first place. So you're actually still in a really good position. I mean, when I bought my first place, we had a 8.96 on the first, and then we had a second. And on the second, it was like 13 point something crazy percent. So, when I see people crying right now about a 5 or 6% interest rate, I'm like, really? Like, I think y'all winning.
Yeah, and then in these days with the market, everything is you have so many options, even internationally. And it's just crazy because whether you stay in state, whether you go out of state, either way it go, you have so many choices to choose from. So that's exactly why I'm excited to just delve into all of the different choices that we have. Like I said, whether you want to move out state, inland, and inland is such a good option because, like you said, you don't want to go too far. Some people have been in California their whole life; they've been all over, so we have that out of state option. And then some people are getting ready to retire, and they're just like, "I'm done with the whole United States. Just throw the whole United States away." And that's what we have the international options as well. And I can't wait till we can get into a little bit more of that too.
Awesome. Yeah, the international piece definitely is exciting. I'll tell you guys, LaDeja and I started our day off with learning about international hotel ownership opportunities. And it was really good information just to kind of learn that it's not so far out of reach like most people think. And so that was pretty cool to kind of get started with that kind of information because, you have those folks, like she said, they say, hey, you know what? I'm done with all of it. I don't even want to be in this country anymore. I want to go somewhere else, and then just think about how far your dollar goes in another country. People are going to Mexico. Like I've talked to probably about 4 or 5 old colleagues that I used to work with in my real estate career. And I'm like, what? I just had a broker reach out. He's like, hey, I'm living in Mazatlan. I'm like, what? When did you move to Mexico? And have clients that are coming from there and people that are like, yeah, we're going to retire in the DR and, or I'm just going to go to Mexico or I'm going to move to Costa Rica. So I'm like, oh my gosh, people really, they do leave the United States. In fact, over 9 million U.S. citizens have moved abroad. And when we say abroad, that means they have left the United States altogether. Okay?
Absolutely,
Like,
Latoya. And then on top of that, even if, you're not ready, you have your family, your kids, your grandkids, your daughters, your sons, and you don't necessarily want to be there, long term. How many of us love to travel and then we love extended vacays? You don't have to worry about getting a hotel. You don't have to worry about necessarily staying in someone else's home. You can have your own property there and still your residence here in California or wherever you are. You can still keep your home in both places. You can get you a nice new place internationally. And, when you're not there internationally, you can Airbnb it out. You can lease it. And that's what the main thing is all about. We want to get more into leasing and renting over selling. Do not sell. Do not sell because you get your options. Leave your options open.
All right, we'll be back. We'll talk a little bit more about that when we come back in a few.
KCAA Radio has openings for 1-hour talk shows. If you want to host a radio show, now is the time. Make KCAA your flagship station. Our rates are affordable and our services are second to none. We broadcast to a population of 5 million people. Plus, we stream and podcast on all major online audio and video systems. If you've been thinking about broadcasting a weekly radio program on Real Radio plus the internet, contact our CEO at 281-599-9800. 281-599-9800. You can Skype your show from your home to our Redlands, California studio where our live producers and engineers are ready to work with you personally. A radio program on KCAA is the perfect work from home avocation in these stressful times. Just type kcaaradio.com into your browser to learn more about hosting a show on the best station in the nation or call our CEO for details. 281-599-9800.
And now, the voices of KCAA with an exciting announcement.
Want to hear NBC News or KCAA anywhere you go? Well, now there's an app for that.
KCAA is celebrating 25 years and our silver anniversary with a brand new app.
The new KCAA app is now available on your smart device, cell phone, in your car, or any place.
Just search KCAA on Google Play or in the Apple Store.
One touch and you can listen on your car radio, Bluetooth device, Android Auto, or Apple CarPlay.
Catch the KCAA buzz in your earbuds or on the streets, celebrating 25 years of talk, news, and excellence with our new KCAA app.
Just do it and download it.
KCAA, celebrating 25 years.
All right. Welcome back to the E Factor. I am your host, Latoya Tillett, here with my special co-host, LaDeja Clark. Before we went for the break, we were talking about some different places you could look into and how you can save money by either going inland if you want to stay in California, and then if you want to leave California altogether, what that would look like, and if you just want to leave the whole country, what that would be. So how are you going to fund these things, right? How does the real estate transaction vary and differ from state to state, or even country to country? But we could start from state to state, because I know in California we use what's called escrow and title, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's an office. They're a third party, unbiased to the transaction or anything like that. So when we're doing real estate, but I know some other states do it a little bit differently. What do you think? What do you know about the other states? Like, for instance, ATL, how do they normally?
Yeah, Atlanta is a little different from what I'm used to. Even in Washington, Atlanta, I know they use the attorneys instead of escrow. So that's a little different. I know some people on the East Coast are probably a little bit more familiar with that. I've never personally used an attorney for the financing department. I'm used to escrow, being on the West Coast, Northwest, California, Washington. So, but I know a lot of other states, not many that I know, but at least Atlanta is one of them that definitely use attorneys.
And I think Texas does also. I know that like a lot of the states use the attorney closing system as opposed to
escrow.
California. Yeah, like how, we do the escrow process. And, I know a few other states do escrow and everything like that. But
it's still a third party, and it's still someone that, you can mediate that for you, and you don't have to worry about getting messy.
Exactly. Because I feel like it's more of a West Coast thing, but I know there's some other states that do actually have escrow and title and things like that. I think Missouri is one of those. When I got my land over there, I know we used a title company, and everything. And they weren't necessarily, the attorneys at the closing office and everything. We handled everything remotely. So that was pretty cool. The other challenge, of course, you get your escrow, you get your title. How do you fund these transactions? Like, how do you go about, a lot of people may be wondering, how do you go about moving or, purchasing? And of course, cash, it always works, right? Not many people. I don't have anybody that I've bumped into that'll turn down any cash, right? But if you don't have a lump sum of cash to go throw down $200,000 or $300,000 in another place or whatever for a house, then you got to think about some financing options. And there's so many options available. I remember with the big real estate boom, 2005, 2006-ish, around the time when we purchased. I mean, you can get any kind of, anybody could get some money at that point. Just as long as you sign those papers and promise that you would make those payments, but of course, after the whole fallout with the mortgage industry and everything, they have tightened up on their restrictions, but there are still a lot of options available. There's tons of down payment assistance available, because I know when I look at my down payment assistance websites, I mean, I didn't even know, for instance, that San Diego will give you $15,000 just to move to San Diego. Okay. So if you're thinking about it, we can help you get a hold of some of that money there and get you over into San Diego if that's something that you want to do. And then, of course, with other states, they have different programs, but most of them are standard, like the well, not CalHalfa, because CalHalfa is for California, right? But when you're looking at HUD and Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac and those places, they kind of make the regulations for majority of the loan products that are available.
Right.
And so you have government-backed loans. Then you have the standard, what they call conventional loans, right? So your FHA is more of a government-backed loan. Then you have VA loans. Again, that's government-backed. And then you have conventional loans, which are not necessarily backed by the government, but you can get, a little bit more wiggle room. You may not have to put down 20, 30% anymore like you used to. Some they have, you can do as little as 3%, even on a conventional loan. And I'm like, wow, I've been seeing some really interesting things. And I'll tell you, Deja, I have this one property that's in escrow right now, and this is the first time I've ever seen this type of loan. Granted, it has taken a very long time. We are still in escrow 45 days later when we're supposed to close in like 27 days or 21 days or whatever it was. Yikes. But I will tell you, this is the first time I've ever seen a loan. It's called an I-10. It's like an I-10 program loan or something like that. So with the buyer, because I have the listing, and so the buyer's agent, she's representing a buyer, but the buyer has an I-10, I guess. And so her Indian tribe is actually stepping up to purchase the home on her behalf. And then they're going to lease to own it to her. And I was like, what? I was like, this sounds crazy, because they asked us to sign an assignment of contract. And I was like, well, why are we doing that? Isn't the buyer this person? And they said, oh, well, they're going to step in and they're going to buy it and lease it back to her. But what's interesting about this loan is that the technical buyer, who's going to end up being the tenant now, they still have to qualify for, they have to get homeowners insurance. They made her get renter's insurance, and they made her get workers' comp insurance, because they said in case she loses her job, they want to make sure that they're protected. And I'm like, I've never heard of a regular individual getting workers' comp for another company. So this loan has just I don't know. I've never seen a loan like this, but just to let you guys know, there are options available for almost anybody, right?
And I was just going to say that in today's time, it's so modern. It's so many options. Like, if you think that you can't do it, that's a reason why you should do it. If you think, if you get COVID, if you're nervous, just reach out, because you never know. They have, with that story that LaToya just told, I mean, wow. I never heard of that. And it's so many options and opportunities out here that just because we don't know about them don't mean that they don't exist.
Exactly. So there's voucher programs.
Try and reach out, because your house could be waiting for you right now at the end of your fingertips.
Yep, and you don't even know it. And then, you know, aside from traditional ways to finance, then of course there's also there's this one company that I partnered with called Home Partners of America, and they do something similar to like that loan I just mentioned, but I don't believe it starts off the way that they had this one done. So with Home Partners of America, generally, you know, if you qualify, you get the resident score. They require a minimum of 610, right? So, you know, most of the time when you're buying a house, you need like a 620, 640 or something like that, especially if you want down payment assistance.
They're making it easier and easier these days.
You're making it easier. You need a 610, but it's a resident score. So it's a combination of your income, your rental history, and your background check, right? They do a soft credit pull. So that's always appreciated, right? Because we all know what hard inquiries can do to your credit. They can tear your credit up and drop you a few points. But yeah, they do like a little soft pull on your credit. And if you meet the resident score, you get with your real estate. They let you use your own real estate agent. You don't have to use people. They're not forcing you to use anyone from their company. And you go out, find the house you want, and then they sign on as the buyer. You don't submit anything, but they'll submit the offer. So there's like a whole process. They'll purchase that home for you, and then you can lease it back for up to 5 years while you work on your credit and get it better to turn around and go ahead and purchase the house. And one of their lender partners will actually use because you know we always got to put down deposits when we're moving. One of their lenders will actually use the deposit that you put down for your move-in and towards your down payment for the house. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah. You know, I kind of like that. So that's an interesting way to get finance. And then of course there's NACA, which they call themselves America's Best Mortgage. And it is America's Best Mortgage if you have the patience to go through the program.
Absolutely.
A lot of people don't have the patience to deal with all NACA's requirements and paperwork and, you know, all that stuff. But if you're patient enough, if you're patient and you have the time and you're on top of your stuff, it is actually America's Best Mortgage. And, you know, there's no regard to your credit on there. Actually, you know, you can have a pretty bad credit score. You might have to write some letters of explanation, but what they will not tolerate is late payments on your rent. You can't have no late payments on your rent in the last 12 months. And that's pretty much the gist of it. And you'll have a mortgage counselor. And they'll go over everything with you. There's also the programs through the housing authorities for people who have the Section 8 vouchers. There's a way for you to purchase homes using your Section 8 vouchers as well. And I remember I found out about that program probably about 10 years ago or so, the Family Self-Sufficiency Program. So, you know, don't feel discouraged. Don't feel like you can never qualify because you're in a certain situation. I know most people who are receiving government assistance or like have Section 8, they don't necessarily think that they can buy homes, but you can.
Definitely.
And you can actually use your voucher towards your mortgage payment.
And that's what this show is all about today, is your options, weighing out your options. It's not just one way. This is 2024. It's so many different ways and turns you can take. So you just have to open your mind and don't be afraid. Don't be timid. Just ask the question. No question is a dumb question. If you want to stay in state, we have options for that. If you want to move out state, depending on your lifestyle, we have options for that. And if you want to go international, if you need financing, whatever it is that you need, it's a way for you. It's uniquely niched and created for you.
That's right. So we're going to go ahead and take our last break of the show. We're going to come back and give you our closing thoughts and remarks. So we'll see you in a few.
KCAA Radio has openings for 1-hour talk shows. If you want to host a radio show, now is the time. Make KCAA your flagship station. Our rates are affordable and our services are second to none. We broadcast to a population of 5 million people. Plus, we stream and podcast on all major online audio and video systems. If you've been thinking about broadcasting a weekly radio program on Real Radio plus the internet, contact our CEO at 281-599-9800. 281-599-9800. You can Skype your show from your home to our Redlands, California studio, where our live producers and engineers are ready to work with you personally. A radio program on KCAA is the perfect work from home avocation in these stressful times. Just type kcaaradio.com into your browser to learn more about hosting a show on the best station in the nation, or call our CEO for details, 281-599-9800.
And now, the voices of KCAA with an exciting announcement.
Want to hear NBC News or KCAA anywhere you go? Well, now there's an app for that.
KCAA is celebrating 25 years and our silver anniversary with a brand new app.
The new KCAA app is now available on your smart device, cell phone, in your car, or any place.
Just search KCAA on Google Play or in the Apple Store.
One touch and you can listen on your car radio, Bluetooth device, Android Auto, or Apple CarPlay.
Catch the KCAA buzz in your earbuds or on the streets, celebrating 25 years of talk, news, and excellence with our new KCAA app.
Just do it and download it.
KCAA, celebrating 25 years.
All right. Welcome back to the E Factor Radio Talk Show. I'm your host, Latoya Tillett, here with my special co-host today, LaDeja Clark. So we've talked a lot about your options and ways that you can still get into real estate or become an investor kind of seamlessly, right? Because it doesn't really take a lot to just lease out a house that you already have and move on to the next house. That's one of the ways you can build wealth and also save yourself on taxes, because guess what? When you sell that house, normally whatever your profit is, you may have to pay taxes on depending on your marital status, right? And how in your occupancy status as well per the IRS. So you can do this and avoid paying taxes by just taking out the equity and purchasing somewhere else. And you keep doing this and rolling it over if that's something that you want to do until you create a portfolio that works for you. So I know we were going to come to you guys, give you some of our final thoughts and everything on what we spoke about today. Deja, what are your final thoughts with hearing about all this stuff? I know you're a little newer to California and the international realm, but what do you think so far?
Well, all I know is you can't really say yay or nay until you just try. You got to try it. Like, don't knock it till you try it is my motto. And what I want to piggyback off of that is right now, like I said, my name is LaDeja Clark. I will be giving out free consultation, analysis, complimentary analysis, so you can know. Because, a lot of times people don't move and they don't act out of fear. So if you are afraid, if you don't know, if you're discouraged because of your credit or you don't know how because of your finances, I know where to go. We know where to go to get you approved. We know who to take you to and send you to. So we will be offering free complimentary analysis, inland or out of state. Also, we all love free stuff, and we all love free stuff with no strings attached. I know I do.
Right.
No obligation.
Too, right? No obligation.
No obligation.
I love it. I love it. We can help you put together any strategy that fits your needs. If it's just to become a first-time homeowner, or if it's for you to become an investor,
absolutely,
an overseas investor, we got you covered. We are coming at you from all ends, so we'll make sure you're good and taken care of. Deja, tell the folks how to reach you.
Yes, absolutely. We will get that appropriate financial option for you. You can find me on Instagram at intl.realty, REALTY. INTL, that's the abbreviation for international, because that's where we're trying to go, overseas, inland, or out of state. It's up to you. But INTL.realty, and on Facebook, everything is INTL.realty. You can find me on Instagram, and you can find me on Facebook.
Awesome. And then you can reach me. I have Tillett Realty Group is the brokerage that's located in Southern California. Also waiting on my license here for Nevada, so I'll be able to help y'all out in Nevada as well. And we can definitely help you internationally also. So if you need to reach me, you can call 909-494-2280. Once again, that's 909-494-2280. You can find me on Instagram. That's at Latoya Tillett, and I will spell that for you because most folks miss one of the letters. So that's L-A-T as in Tom, O-Y-A. Tillett is T as in Tom, I-L-L-E-T-T. You can find me on Instagram. Facebook is having a little issues right now. I got hacked for the first time since 2009. I have my Facebook account, so I can't access my my Facebook account where I grew my biggest following and everything. So best case scenario right now, find me on Instagram. You can also go to TillettRealtyGroup.com, the website, find out about more of what we have going on. Anybody in the Atlanta area that's going to be in Atlanta, August 23rd through the 25th, we are headed to Invest Fest. Deja and I will be there at booth 1315. So if you go to Invest Fest this year, make sure you stop by and see us and hear about what we have to offer. All right. So
yeah, and if you see Latoya, 9 times out of 10, you'll see me. If you see me, you'll see her. Yeah. So if you can't reach one of us, reach the other, and you can definitely get in contact with both of us. Thank you guys so much for having us today.
Thank you so much, Deja. It's been a pleasure having you. It was so fun being able to talk to you about real estate and everything. And so we're going to let you guys go. Have the rest of your Saturday. Thank you so much for listening to us. Don't be afraid to reach out, because guess what? You do have options. So we'll see y'all
a lot of options.
Factor show.
And happy Father's Day to all the dads out there.
Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there.
Thanks for being a dad.
All right. Have a good weekend.